welcome to the True Tales of Survival. My name is Afnan. I'm here with my co-host Azimo.
Hello.
And my guest Preeti. So we're gonna talk about the entrepreneurships. As you guys know that we've got a channel which is recently we have created when we're gonna bring out the guests and ask about the questions. And Preeti's got an Instagram page regarding what you guys
My
say.
clothing. So we sell leather goods and garments. My brand name is called Satha. The name is originated from my ancestors, and the name means immortal in Sanskrit.
Yeah,
That's nice, that's to be honest. So let's get started of how you got the idea and at what age probably you got the idea.
Yeah.
How do you initially start with it? And we're gonna over the time we're gonna go into rest of it. So yeah, tell us how you got the idea from and how was the first difficult stage for you when you got started this?
Yes. So it's a very interesting story. So I was doing my bachelor's in India, and I was specializing in leather goods and garments. During my third year, I happened to be in an internship in a manufacturing unit, and there was this incident where I was kind of like abused by my superior just because there was a minute mistake that was already made by the company, but I just mentioned, but because of her egos being so high, she kind of made it that I was at fault. That's where I think there was a moment where she told me that, stand towards the wall, and she kind of like took the ruler out and she was about to beat.
Well,
That's cool.
That was
Yeah,
that was brutal, and there was no cameras, so that's where I realized that the fashion industry.
Imagine that happened in the UK, and you could really destroy the
exactly.
place with because in the UK people has very high rights, especially the employees. They're pretty good rights.
Yeah, you have HRs too, but then in the fashion industry, you don't have an HR where you can tell your problems to.
Yeah,
so it was.
I kind of heard about that in the fashion industry. It's just like that cruel, a bit like that.
Yeah,
like that.
a little A-rated people in there. But then, so that's where I realized that was a tipping point where my father, when I went back home, I told this to my father, and he was like, well, the amount that I'm going to get paid, my dad could pay me double, and I could just put in the brand for my own and build an empire for my own and create an, that's why I say that my brand is not a brand, but it's more like a legacy that I'm building up for younger generations to understand that fashion industry is not what it is, what I have experienced. So, yeah, that's where I think the initial idea came.
Yeah, can you tell me what's your future plan regarding your industry? Like, what do you want to see after 5 years?
Oh, where I want to be in 5 years? Well, that's very early for the interview that we're doing right now, but it's okay. I would tell. So maybe in the next 5 years, I obviously want to be in London Fashion Week. I want my collections to be in there. I want people to see, come visit, and mostly my brand, the concepts that we build in, it's not RTW where you just wear it and the next day you forget it. My clothings are more of gives up an identity. Each pieces have a story, and my clothings are more about provoking ideas in people and making them understand that there are a few concepts that have been left out in the humans, and that needs a little bit concentration towards. So,
I think what you basically mentioned before, like the legacy, this is something which a lot of people need to really look into. Because about one thing about businesses, people are very, at least for humans, we are really risk. We don't really like to take risk much. But then again, you don't realize the potential of taking that risk because you can build up actually a legacy. It's not a business you're building on. What you are building on is going to help you generations to come.
Yes.
And for example, think of this, like I think it's a pretty popular brand in India, the Tata. What that person built.
Yes.
Okay, and it's just going from generation, and who knows how long it's gonna last. No one knows that.
And I would say that Tata also has their unit in leather, and their company is really good because while I was working with them, the employees and the kind of management that they are having in India and in the fashion industry, I think they're quite on the upper hand, I would say.
And I think you mentioned something about leathers lasting for a long time. So tell us something about more about this one.
So basically our products are from Olive Lender Leathers. It's more of, leathers are made up of different tannings, and they're harmful chemicals and also ones which are made environmental friendly. So the leathers that we produce, the finishings are made from the leaves of olives that are, once the byproduct comes from the factory, that is released in the oceans, but also it doesn't harm the fishes or something. So that there is no harm for the ecosystem. So it's very environmentally friendly. And the reason why I said like leather lasts longer is because it's an element that is degradable if it's like buried. But then if it's on use, it can go years to years with right maintenance.
Okay. So how would you deal with the legal requirement? I mean, the legal and procedures and the laws.
So,
because especially in India, apparently the rules are very strict. So as the UK, and the people are becoming more environmental friendly, and the environmental factors which is which is being introduced by the companies, it's getting more better, and companies have to take actions regarding the environmental policy. So how would you deal with it? Can you just describe it, please?
Yes. So mostly I'm more of, I go to the export houses, I'm more of a client base, but I make sure that the companies that I'm approaching towards are really, flourished, and, they have all these systems, because when you go inside these companies, they obviously give you what kind of certification they have. So that's an assurance as a buyer, for me to understand where the company is lying. And as far as leather being a controversial subject in India, because there's a lot of, like, we deal with cows and goats and sheep. Usually the leather that is made in India, it's more of gone for consumption. So the animal, when it's gone for consumption, the skin of the animal is used for the production of leather. So there is no way that you're torturing an animal, or there's a harmful, or it's only used for leather. So
that's a very pretty
yeah,
much
that's actually
idea.
I think there is a very underlying statement where people think that leather is a very harmful industry, or being like seeing the graphics of it, but in reality there's a lot of facts that are not being out there because of veganism. Anyway, we shall
she's got a point. She's got a point.
Even though people will bring up, it's still, they're not going to accept it, it's still leather, people are getting killed, but you can't make everyone happy.
Sorry to interrupt
your idea is to make business, and to make this, your idea is to take a product. I think one of your best mechanism would be, you said you're taking those leaves, right? Olive leaves. So those are mostly, those become a waste because it doesn't have any use. You're taking a waste and turning it into a solution.
Yes.
I think, however, like, it depends on person. It depends person to person. Some people will find it offensive to killing these animals, or some people are okay with it. It depends on person. Who are you promoting your stuff to? To get my point.
Yeah, I get it. But I think when the same person who's thinking that killing an animal is like impacting or abusing or something, I would also want them to think that if you're buying a PU based leather, petroleum based leather, or if you're buying a vegan leather, that is a huge scam out there. It's just 30% pulp of fruit and 60% petroleum. So I would say that when you buy these kind of products, the manufacturing is harmful. The second thing is, when you buy these products, the byproduct of the manufacturing gives out a lot of harmful gases to the environment, and once it impacts the environment, let's say water bodies, then the fishes are dying. If the fishes are dying, then the turtles are dying, and then who's going to rescue the turtles? And then the vegans are like, so it doesn't really make sense that
as I say, some people will always hate on it because they have this motto.
But then I would say believe in facts.
No, but she's got a really good intention. She has no intention of hurting vegan people.
No,
she's just spitting out the facts,
as I
stating
said,
the obvious.
She's turning all those byproducts into your products. You're not really going for killing the animal. You're already taking the waste from those animals who have been slaughtered for food. So that's pretty much acceptable.
As we discussed before the podcast, you're studying in fashion.
Yes, I'm currently.
Where about you studying? Can you just?
Yes, I'm currently doing my MA Fashion Artifacts in London College of Fashion. So I'm in my second year right now. So mostly by the February.
Graduating soon.
Yes.
Guys, graduating soon.
Yes. So I'll be an alumni of LCF pretty sure. Yeah.
So now let's get more into the business point of view. Let's tell us about the usual problems you encounter. Let's say the first year, what are the problems you encounter and how did you cope? So tell our viewers, like, how in that case they're going to understand, like, obviously any business you start, you will basically get into problems, right? And it's a fact. Nothing's that easy. Building a business takes time and takes that you basically learn from your failures. The failures you're going to have, and you're just gonna try to improve on it, and that's how businesses works.
Yes.
So tell us more about
How
what
the
failures you
difficulties-
had and how did you cope up with it.
Yeah, so well, it's been the first year. Today is 2nd of July, which is like 1 year.
Congratulations for that.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So I'm really happy about that. But yeah, so during my 4th year, I realized that usually we do a graduation project in the design school, and I happened to go to my faculties and I was like, well, I want to build my own brand, I want to build my own this thing, and I shared out my idea and I told them that, you know, there's something that I want to really work under, and it's been since third year, it was in the back of my head, so I was building the backgrounds of it, and then once in my 4th year I started working foreground, which is basically designing products and looking for manufacturers who could provide me with all the abilities that I could do. So my works, whatever were illustrated, I wanted it to be in person in 3D, and that was really difficult for me. I remember being rejected by a lot of major manufacturers in India just because the works that I was doing was couture. A lot of and I best believe that in India the designs of leather are very, very normal. Like they're just like, they have like 4 different bags and then just making minute details, and then that's where the entire product is made. So there's no much creativity being involved.
Yeah.
And I think India, Bangladesh, they're these 2 countries.
The whole Southeast Asian
Yeah,
country.
yeah, they're by the West. I best believe that they treat these countries as manufacturing units. They don't treat them as a creative or something that they could contribute to the West.
You know,
So it's like, I'm really sorry, but so I think that once the creativity erupts from these kind of countries, it's kind of underlined by the West. And I really wanted to focus on this point on my, you know, on my brand, that, you know, being in India and being with all these manufacturing units, we could still produce high-end products right by being there.
you know, Azim, I've got a very, last, I think, a couple of weeks ago, I was going through some articles that, you know, the biggest brands such as Gucci, Chanel, Dolce Gabbana, they go to, you know, the Southeast Asian countries, they get the cheapest manufacturers and everything, and they make profit out of it. So if we focus on our, you know, the manufacturing side, as she mentioned, so we can make the similar brands, like,
No, I would say, see, that's exactly my point, because when every manufacturing, the quality is being produced in
Yeah.
these kind of countries
Yeah.
and just being sold in the West,
Yeah.
then, well, hey, we can make our own products
Yeah.
and still
Great
be
Yeah.
equally competent
Yeah.
with the biggest brands
yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like I think maybe 2 years back, I wrote this article during the COVID time.
Mhm.
It was about, like, you know, because Bangladesh is a big place for like manufacturing, and I think
Yes.
H&M, all those big corporations
Yes.
are coming to Bangladesh and just, like, you know, creating the products. And during COVID, they just stopped manufacturing.
Yes.
So this basically states how much our country or those businesses relied on those brands. And what happened is that once they stopped paying the wages. So
Yeah.
there were huge lot which was already ordered and they were already made, but, like, you know, the companies refused to pay. So we can easily overturn, like, if more brands arise from these countries, they can easily, like, you know, overturn. They won't have the power. Right now they have the bargaining power. Okay, I don't want to take it. What are you gonna
Yeah,
do?
yeah.
So I wrote this huge article on that, like, you know, it's very unfair that, like, they're going through this just because, you know, the companies, they don't have their own brands. So yeah, so your idea is kind of like, you know, related
Yeah,
to this,
yeah.
which is really good. Like,
Yeah.
we shared the same idea. We understand what is happening since there is no big brands in these Asian countries. No
Yeah.
big, the other
Yeah.
European
Basically,
countries,
you're
they don't.
representing the whole Southeast Asian country.
Yeah.
No. That's a lot. That's a lot of
Yeah.
responsibility. There are better people out there who could be in this position, but then, yeah.
But the thing is, someone has to start.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
someone has to start. You have to
Sure.
start the war.
Someone has to
Oh
show
my
people
God.
and, like, yeah, we can do it. Like, our country really can do it. So yeah,
Yes.
this is a good thing.
Yeah. So I was asking, as an accounting and finance student, so I was asking one question that is quite interesting. I think this is not regarding your business.
Yeah.
How would you deal with the fast moving inventory items, or how would you deal the inventory things, like, you know, the fashion industry? You know, that it
That's a
really
good
focuses
question.
on trends.
Yes, I know.
You know, trends.
Yes.
For example, this is the trend of leather.
Yeah.
So your competitor, it's a very tough game. How would you just deal with the competitor when the fashion industries keep moving?
Yeah.
So how would you deal with it
Yes, I
if
got
your
it.
inventory will
Mhm.
gonna be obsolete? How would you deal with those
Yes.
inventory?
Okay, firstly, my brand, we do not focus on trends. We don't
Mhm.
focus on seasons. We purely focus on the ideology and the stories, because my brand is purely based on the stories that we communicate to the people. So
Mhm.
it's not only a piece of clothing that you're buying, but it's a piece of art that you're buying. So yeah. So I don't follow any trends. I don't follow any rules in that aspect. So that's one thing. And second thing is, I hate fast fashion because
Oh,
of
that line bought me.
It
That
is
line bought
very
me.
bad.
even though I wear it because obviously I'm poor, but once I'm rich, I would
Okay,
definitely,
okay.
I would definitely buy, mostly because
Yeah, because fast fashion, if you think about it, like they just
it
sell.
lasts shorter too.
They just sell it very cheap and
Yeah.
it just gets ruined pretty easily. Like I have a few things. For example, I won't say it's part of fashion. I have the shirts which I bought 7 years ago,
Mhm.
and it is still there, and it's amazing. Still, it looks fresh. No one can say that they're 7 years old. I have this suit that I made. I think my dad made it, and he just passed on to me. It's 15 years.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of homegrown brands, and that's the beauty of getting
Yeah.
getting things done by yourself rather than buying stuff from Berkshire or H&M or Zara, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah. So,
And is your brand gonna be for every class of people? Like, for example,
yeah, the price points.
the
you're
price
asking.
point I was asking
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
the rich people can afford Louis Vuitton, Dolce
Yes,
Gabbana,
yes.
and so forth.
Well, I would say my brand is not luxury, but it's more premium.
Okay.
So it's because right now we are only in custom making, so we just take custom orders. But mostly by this year, and we'll start the mass production, where everyone and anyone can purchase the products. So yeah, but right now we are just in the customs. So during that time frame, our price points are basically purely on the amount of time that is taken to generate the product according to the customer. So yeah, the price points vary person to person right now. Yeah, but it's a premium brand, I would say.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it, because obviously, leather being that premium product.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like easy to make as fast fashion,
Yeah.
although other clothes, but yeah, obviously, keeping it in a premium would definitely have a lot of customer. And this is the thing. What happens is, like on most other countries, like especially in the South Asian countries, leather is a bit seasonal. But then again, once you said you have customized, so in that case, they won't really care about the season. I mean,
Yes.
think about it, like in the UK, like those people you see that they're just wearing that, like what do you call it, those loafers, or not loafers actually, those, like the puffers.
Oh
Puffers,
yes.
like, all season
Oh my
round.
God.
All season round. So
Well,
yeah, this is a very good market. Really,
Yeah.
you can
Well,
just
my first collection was all on puffers, so yeah,
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
a thing for the puffers. So
No, I had it gone through your
I mean,
Instagram
Oh, yeah,
page.
you did saw the
summer,
puffers.
whether it's
They're
rain, whether it's
phenomenal.
winter,
They'll
they
tell you.
just
I would
wear it
tell
all the
you.
time. So yeah, having a brand that really, like is having a kind of product that really is available in all seasons is very
yeah,
good. And
yeah.
I think it's a very good market.
Yeah, so
to really
mostly-
rely on.
Yeah, so we're planning on making a bridge collection that is available for 24 seasons, like for 365 days.
Okay.
So there's a bridge collection that will be coming up, and then we will be making into the my brand. We mostly focus on 2 collections a year to release, and there's a bridge collection. So bridge collection, you have access to those products all time of the year, but there's 2 collections that will be released in every year that will only be priorly accessible for certain amount of time, because there'll be limited inventory for that.
That's good.
Yeah.
So let's start with, like, how you basically brought it over here.
Yeah.
Because obviously this brand is very, as you mentioned, there's a lot of brands
Yes.
in different parts of the world for leather. How did you initially start the marketing? Like, how did you reach out to customers? Because obviously, end of the day, leather is very controversial in India,
Yes.
as well, as you mentioned, because like people think it's made of cow skin, so they don't really want to go for
And
it.
cows are sacred in
Sacred
India.
in India.
Yes,
So how
yes.
did you market to initially the Indian population?
Yeah.
Like this is a product that you really want to have.
So
And what was the difficulty you faced? there?
yeah, so luckily, because my background was in the leather, so it was a little bit easier for me to find clients. But one thing was, till date, we didn't use any marketing strategy.
That's good.
So because the products were just sold in by friends to friends, and word of mouth has helped me so far.
Mhm.
My first collection, we invested around 3 lakhs Indian rupees, and the outcome was 6 lakhs. We made double. So
That's pretty much decent.
yes, I
As
mean,
a startup,
yeah,
that's a decent money.
Yes, and then there comes the custom orders where they're like XYZ stuff. So yeah, those were, but then I wouldn't count them as like an income to the company. But then yeah, they're still in the counts. So yeah, so far because I wasn't also active because so the problem was I just released the collection in India and then I flew to UK. So there was no plan of me coming to UK initially because I never thought that I would get into LCF. Actually, I really thought that because it's a really
school.
it was my dream school.
Yeah, that was
and
what you were telling me.
yeah, and the fun fact was I showed them my collection in the interview and they just told me, can you come to the UK and put up the collection? I was like, okay, but then because my items were so fucking huge that I couldn't like bring it to
you get only 50 kilograms to get
and my there's this huge coat that we made and the whole coat is like 30 kgs. So when a person wears
how
it,
did you just
it's like couture, it's pure couture. My first collection was couture, so that's the only product still lying in my studio because it's not functional, but then we give it out for rents and for photo shoots. So
that's good. That's another business model, like
Yeah.
because like this is about
something
how
needs to be made out of
businesses,
it.
Like you make a business model of everything you can. Like that's how you get the maximum profit on this.
Yes.
So
that's a very good one.
but I've got another question about the SWOT analysis, which is
SWOT analysis. Yes, I know.
which is all about strength, weakness,
Yes.
opportunities, and
Yes.
threats.
Yes.
So, can you describe what is your strength? What is your brand strength and weaknesses and opportunities? That what could be your threat? Because basically the entrepreneurship and the business and or the whole business in general, it has to be they have to do the SWOT
analysis. Yes, I did that.
Yeah. So, can you just go through it? Can you just
I
go
can
through
tell
the
you.
audience?
Yeah. So my strengths of my brand is the identity that I bring in, the concepts that I bring in, and the designs that I bring in. The things that I made in India are something that were not being made currently out there. But then when I came to the West, this was something common. But then you couldn't see the same designs in leather, but you could see them in clothing, like other fabrications.
Yep.
So that was my weakness, I would say, but the strength was the ideation and the concepts that we bring in are very unique, and we always make sure that whenever someone is buying is more of a product of identity that is being bought. And opportunity, I would say that in India, I only moved to the UK right now because opportunity is very weak in India for leather, because in the south of India, nobody wears leather. It's only produced there. You could see them like 1-2 people wearing it. In the north, yes, they would wear it, but then there's not a huge market out there. But it's quite opposite in the west. Over here, 24 hours, you could see every season people are wearing leather. Like even now, it's so hot, and you see on streets people wearing leather jackets. I am wearing a leather jacket right now.
Mr. Roadman, like
Let me tell you a funny thing. Like last Monday, maybe I went to a park. It was sunny. And it was like hot, like it was decent temperature. Someone's wearing a leather jacket. I was like, yo, what's happened? What are you, bro? I'm so cold.
Well, there's this thing apparently when people are when people do not want their emotions to be brought out, or they want a barrier to be built, they usually tend to wear leather during those time frames. So I think the person was going through something. But anyway, so when the strengths were done, the opportunity is done, and then what was
the threats.
Well, so far, because the threat, I would say, is that we didn't produce another collection. It's been a year. It was just one collection and then all the custom orders. So that's the biggest threat. And my dad, he has been back of me since the day I left UK. Do your designs, do your thing, do it fast. He's been calling me, even like before I came here, he's just like, hey, are the designs ready? Like I need to give the manufacturers. I'm just like, sorry dad, like just give me some time, because right now the kind of designs that I made earlier, I usually make my designs 5 years prior. So it's like if I make a design right now, it will be like I make for the next 5 years, so that I don't have like to look back and be like, oh my god, and all that things. So the thread is like, there's a gap, and when there's a gap in business, filling in the gap is really hard. So from November there will be a really strong,
Yeah.
It's going to be
Yeah,
another
focus
task
more.
for me
Yeah.
to fill in the gap and help my dad too.
Do you really think? I mean, do you think so? You can just meet the expectation of the customers, like the customer expected your products to be in a certain way. Do you think so? Really, it
Well,
can make the customer expectation.
See, I don't make clothes to meet people expectations. I make clothes.
So that's the answer I was looking
I
for.
mean, because you gotta basically there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
concept in marketing. You have to be product oriented. You focus on the product, customers will buy it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people.
That's how it is.
Yeah,
That's how
people
it should
come
be.
to.
Even the
I.
iPhone, like
Yeah,
they
people
don't
come
care
in.
about what
Yeah.
It's a brand reputation.
They just build the product and people want it.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Because iPhone or Apple is an established company.
I'm just saying
Yes.
this is the concept of
Yeah,
product
I
oriented.
do understand that, but also that when it comes to making money, I do understand that the customer satisfaction is the prior, but then I also want I want customers who also understand the values that I bring into the company,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I build. So automatically, yes, I would want the customer to be satisfied at the end of the day with, let's say leather maintenance and anything. If you're buying a product from my brand, any 5 years from my brand, from the product purchaser, if you have any problem, you could still come in and we could still repair it. So that's an
That's
an advantage that I would give it
and
from a
it gives
consumer.
strong belief to a strong
Yes.
builds up more sort of trust to the customer. So
Yes. So these are all the things that I would keep in my mind. So yeah, but then also if a customer really doesn't know what my brand values are and still buying it for the sake of it, I would not sell my product.
That's very good. That's very
That's very
strong,
good.
I think.
Yeah.
On this. So I think I would say finally, let's just think about what you've came across a long time, right?
Yeah.
You've basically seen a lot of things.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to the person who initially started? Let's say, for example, you
Yeah.
started 1 year back.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to yourself 1 year back? Right now, what you learned?
Yeah. What was the mistake you have done
Um,
during this?
How would you
pandemic?
advise her that hey, do this so it's
Yeah.
gonna be smooth for you? This is why it's gonna be smoother for you.
I think I'm still in the learning curve right now, so there's still the ups and downs of it. But then I would say that, when I came to the UK, I kind of gave up on my brand and everything. So because of a lot of XYZ reasons, I would tell myself a year back that go easy on yourself a little.
Yeah.
And
At the end of the
just
day, it
trust
matters.
yourself.
And, at
And
the end of the
back
day,
then I was really frustrated because I really didn't know if I was getting into LCF. I really didn't know, and I was really strong and adamant on building my brand and building in connections in India and having this all strong base. So I would tell myself that go a little easy on yourself, but at the same time I should have marketed myself better. Because I have seen my friends, my counterparts doing, because during that time frame, a year back, a lot of us were building brands at the same time, and I could see other friends of mine going a little ahead of time because they're still back in India. But then now I'm in the UK, so obviously my game changes are different from theirs. But then I would tell myself that I wish I could have spoken to a lot of other newspapers. I wish I could have given a brighter, bigger audience. I could have given more newspaper articles about it so that people could come in and approach. So yeah, that was one mistake that I still regret on doing. But then it's okay. I just told over a period of time to myself that it's okay.
and you made it. And you made it.
Yeah, and I will make it. I will make it.
That's how it should be, and hopefully we're gonna have you on the show maybe a couple of days or months later to see how you progress or how the business really picked up.
Yeah.
And obviously, you said that it's gonna be a big thing. You want to get into the UK in a proper big way.
Yeah.
So once you do, we're gonna see how it goes.
And then
Hopefully
accordingly, if it's going good, we should call her. Oh, it's not going good. Yeah, okay, next person.
All about this channel is all about showing people how
Yeah.
real true sales
The
are,
entrepreneurial
how even
journeys.
if they fail or succeed or how they succeeded from their failures. That's how
Yeah.
it is. That's what this channel will represent.
Yeah.
I think that's something good. We're gonna look into it in the future. What happens, and we're definitely gonna be connected. And
Obviously we're going to be connected. Of course.
Okay.
Anyway.
Anyways, let's wrap this up. So everyone, thank you for listening.
staying tuned with
And
us.
I hope you liked our basically interview with
Preeti.
Preeti.
You already forgot her
No,
name.
I'm saying, I want to